All right, welcome back everyone. Dr. Ben, not a real doctor here. Today I'm going to take you through a full mobility session to work on deepening your squat. We're going to start with feet, work up to lower legs, then upper legs, then hips, and then we'll do some squats to set everything in and make sure your body remembers the new range of motion. You're going to need a few things for this session. A lacrosse ball. We're going to use this to work on our feet. You're going to need some kind of bolster. I'm using a yoga block. It doesn't have to be a yoga block. It can be a towel, a cushion, something like that. We're going to be using this to stretch out our lower legs. And then you're going to need some kind of moderate weight. It's a 32-pound kettlebell. You don't have to use a kettlebell, and use a weight that's appropriate for you. That might be 70 pounds, that might be 5 pounds. But you can use anything that you have handy to offer some resistance for the squat. All right, so we're going to be starting with the lacrosse ball. We're going to use this to roll out the ball of our foot first. So you're going to basically put the lacrosse ball, on the ball of your foot. And then you're just going to put pressure on to the ball, whatever you find comfortable. Should be slightly uncomfortable. Shouldn't be dire straits kind of pain. And you're just going to roll across the surface of the ball of your foot. You may notice I'm also wearing toe spreaders here. If you have them, this is going to be a great time to use them. It's going to help retrain the muscles in your feet and return your natural toe splay. So we're not going to spend a ton of time on each of these. We just want to wake everything up and then set it into place with the squats. There's a very noisy bird in that tree. He's happy it's morning. All right, now we're going to roll out the bottom of our foot. So you're just going to roll back and forth across the bottom surface of your foot. Don't roll too fast. You want to give your foot time to adapt to the pressure. If you just blow through real fast, it's not really going to encourage that. This is going to help give you a better base for your squat. So much of your strength comes from the strength of your feet. They're kind of the messengers of the body, and they tell the body what they can handle. And because we spent so much time in shoes, they're often a limiting factor in our performance. For working inside the arch, you may need to turn your foot a little bit to the side so that you can get pressure on the muscle in the arch of your foot. All right, switch over to the other side. Roll out the ball of the foot on your other foot. Again, take your time on these. Use as much pressure, not as much pressure as you can stand, but a good amount of pressure to where your tissues have to adjust. You're looking to cause an adaptation. All right, the surface, the bottom of your foot. And again, get into the arch. If you need to, turn your foot sideways. You may find it handy to have something here to balance on. You can use a broomstick, a piece of PVC, whatever you happen to have handy. You can even set up a chair next to you if you need to. But if you feel like you need that extra stability, please don't be shy. Grab that extra stability. It'll also allow you to get a little bit more pressure into your foot if you need to. Okay, so next we're going to move on. We're going to actually use a lacrosse ball and work on the front of our leg a little bit. So what you're going to do is you have the ridge here, which is your tibia. And just off to the side here, you have muscles that run all the way down that pick your foot up. Sometimes these get a little stiff. And what we're going to do is we're just going to get the ball into the meat of that muscle. And I want you to just look around and find a spot where it's a little tender. And then I want you to apply light pressure to that spot, and then you're just going to move your foot around. Make that muscle work through its little sticky spot. And this is just going to help free up your ankle a little bit more when we move on to the calf stretch. Again, just spending a little bit of time in each of these areas to wake everything up. This is all going to add up to more mobility in this squat. Remember, you don't want to be doing this so you're gritting your teeth and in absolute agony. It should be a little bit uncomfortable if you have anything you really need to work on in here, but this shouldn't be debilitating pain, like a 5 out of 10. You're also probably going to notice that one side is better off than the other. My right leg is quite a bit tighter than my left leg. There's a big difference in mobility there, which is one of the things that this sort of thing really helps with a lot. All right, let's go over to the other side. So again, find the tibial ridge here, roll off to the outside, and all that meat there, that's what you want to check for any sensitive spots. And then once you find it, add a little bit of pressure, and you're just going to wiggle your foot. Make that muscle move through a restriction, break up all that sticky stuff. You may feel this down into the top of your foot, across the top of your ankle. You may even feel this into your toes. That's okay. You're probably just working on a trigger point. That means this needs to be worked out. Modern footwear tends to cause this because of the way it shapes your foot, keeps the toes curled up and mushed together. It makes a lot of this stuff on the front of your shin not work the way it should. It all gets kind of glued together. Okay, let's move on to the calf stretch. Hopefully that ball doesn't run away. So take your bolster and you're gonna put your foot, the ball of your foot, up onto your bolster. You wanna keep your weight over the plant foot, not the foot you're stretching. And you wanna just shift your plant foot forward until you feel a decent stretch, a light stretch in the foot you're stretching. You wanna work on keeping your quad relaxed. You don't want to be having that quad tight, pulling your kneecap up. So as you find your stretch, think about keeping your quad relaxed at the same time that calf is stretching. Now, depending on where you are tight, you may feel this in your foot. You may feel this in the back of your knee a little bit as that calf muscle crosses the knee joint. You may actually feel this in your hamstrings a little bit if you have really, really tight hamstrings. We're just going to hold this for a little bit and just let everything continue to stretch out. Take nice deep breaths. That's going to help the muscles relax. It's going to tell your nervous system things are safe and it doesn't have to remain tense. As you feel that muscle release, you may even be able to walk your foot forward a little bit more. Get a little bit more stretch into those calves. I apologize, it's a little chilly this morning, so my nose is running. Sorry for all the sniffling, but that's all right. It's a beautiful morning. It's a great morning to be doing this. All the geese are flying in, the birds are chirping, the sun's coming around the corner here. It's a good day. Now on this other side, I'm going to change positions here so you can see better what I'm doing. So Foot goes up on your bolster, and you're just gonna keep your weight over your plant foot and slowly walk it forward until you feel a good stretch, a decent stretch in the foot or in the leg you're stretching. Like I said, as you're in this stretch, things may loosen up and you'll actually be able to walk that foot forward more. You want to keep your weight, as I said, over your plant foot. And we're just going to hold this for a little bit, let everything relax, release. Nice deep breaths. Keep the breathing going. If you're holding your breath, you're stretching too hard, you're also telling your body that it's not safe to relax. Nice, big, deep breaths. And also remember, try and keep this quad relaxed. You should not have your kneecap pulled up. You want to learn to extend your leg without clamping down your quads. All right, now we're going to move into another stretch for the calf. So you're going to come down to a open kneeling position, open half kneeling. And I want you to just shift your weight out over your foot. And this is actually going to stretch. There's two muscles in your lower leg, the two main muscles in your lower leg. This one is to stretch the other muscle. The first one stretches the gastroc, which crosses the knee joint and the ankle joint. This is to stretch the soleus, which only crosses the ankle joint. So by bending our knee, we're isolating that muscle. You may also feel this in your foot or on the outside of your ankle. It's going to depend on your mobility again, but we're just going to hold this for a little bit and make everything in the ankle nice and open so that you can get deeper into your squat. A lot of times ankle mobility is a big limiter in the squat. So by doing all this, you're going to allow your body to get into a better squat position. Now, if you were wearing toe spacers and you're not used to them, your foot could actually get very tired from doing something like this. You're putting a fair bit of work into the foot muscles. And if they're not well trained, this could be a little overwhelming for them at first. If you need to take a break from this, just rock back, take a break, and then move back into the stretch. The Goose Super Highway out here this morning. Okay, to the other side. And lean in. You may, as you lean in, your heel may come up just a little bit. That's okay. That gives you a little bit more space if you have that level of mobility to stretch out that soleus a little bit more. Now for me, as I was saying, my right leg is a little tighter. I feel this a fair bit on the inside of my hip on my right leg. That's a muscle that I've injured when I was a kid and sometimes still doesn't want to let go. And the more weight you put out over your foot, the more intense the stretch. If you do feel sort of a pinch on the front or the outside of your ankle, that's an indicator that those muscles we were just working with the lacrosse ball on the front of the shin still need some more work. You need to make a little bit more space in your ankle to get this movement going into its full range of motion. If you want to get a little bit more advanced, you can move your knee back and forth. And that's going to work not only a little bit extra mobility in the hip, but a lot more extra mobility in the foot and the ankle. All right, nice work. Now, this isn't so much a bolster as much as a pad. We're gonna move into a quad stretch. So put your knee on some sort of pad, get into a split squat position, and then we're going to bring our foot up towards our butt. And then, almost fell off my pad there. And then we're gonna shift our hips back. So there's a nice straight line across our hips. We don't want our leg behind us. We want our knee directly under us. And if this position is too intense for you, you can find something to put under your foot to make the stretch a little less intense until you have enough mobility to get your foot up. You can do this with your foot up against the couch or a chair. You can put some sort of bolster under your foot to hold it there for you. There's all kinds of things you can do to make this stretch work. But we're just gonna hold this a little bit. You should feel this mostly across the front of your thigh. You may feel this across the front of your hip a little bit too, depending on how some of those muscles that cross the hip joint are doing mobility-wise. So again, this is stretching out the quads. The gait of most people, because of footwear and lots of sitting, tends to be extremely quad dominant. So these could be incredibly tight muscles on you. This could be a big part of what pulls your posture forward into that I'm sitting in a chair pose. And again, you're probably going to find that one side is tighter than the other. Like I've mentioned, on me, my right side is quite a bit tighter than my left side. Just something to keep in mind. It's a good thing while you're going through your day to look through your patterns and see what could be contributing to that. All right, now we're going to work on a hip flexor stretch. So same position, this time the foot's on the ground, and what you're going to do is you're going to squeeze your glute a little bit and tuck your pelvis under you. That way you're rotating down and getting a good stretch across the front of your thigh, across the front of your hip. If you need a little more stretch, maintain your position, but shift your hips forward. So your pelvis stays in the same position. What you're doing is bringing your leg behind you by shifting your hips forward. There's a very good chance these muscles are tight on you. Most people have extremely tight hip flexors from lots of sitting. This is a good way to work on that. This is actually one of those stretches pretty much everybody should probably do for 5 to 10 minutes every single day, really, if you want to start undoing a lot of that hip tension. And remember, always breathing, nice, deep breaths. Good breaths tell your body it's safe. It can relax. Okay, over to the other side. Get all set up. Foot up. Find your balance. That's the hard part sometimes, finding the balance. And then get into that good position and get the stretch across your quad going. Once again, not looking for mega stretch here, not trying to rip our quads off the bone. Just a nice, comfortable stretch. Nice deep breaths, keep breathing. If you need to, you can set something up. Pole, post, chair, something for a little extra balance. Nothing wrong with making sure you don't fall over in the middle of a stretch. As this opens up, you may be able to shift your hips back a little bit, get into a better, more vertical position, hips right over the knee. This one may take some time depending on how tight your quads are, but that's okay. Take your time, work with where you are. Do this a little bit every day. It'll get better. Okay, let's head over to the hip flexor stretch. So remember, good position. Squeeze your glute a little bit, tuck your pelvis under, and then shift your hips forward until you find the stretch. Once again, not forcing it, just a nice pleasant stretch. Watch that you're not lifting your ribs up as you're shifting your hips forward. Try and keep good alignment between your shoulders and your hips stacked on top of each other. And then just shift your hips forward a little bit and allow the stretch to happen. Deep breathing, nice and relaxing. Make this a nice, happy, pleasant experience. Good. All right, just a few more stretches here, and then we're going to do some squats. We're going to do a hamstring stretch now. So you're going to come to a kneeling position, and you're going to bring one leg out in front of you. Now, if this position doesn't work for you, you can put a bolster under your butt to sit on to get your hips elevated, take a little of the pressure off your knee. Keep your body nice and straight, leg out in front of you. You're going to want to pick your toes up, curl your toes towards you. That's going to stretch everything along the back of your leg a little bit more. You can even put a hand on your foot if you can get there. And then you're just going to keep your upper body nice and straight and just lean forward a little bit. And that's going to stretch out along the back of your thighs, along in the hamstrings. You may feel this a little bit in the calves depending on your mobility. Just hang out, deep breathing. Focus on breathing into your hamstrings. It's going to help them relax, help your body say, this is safe, we can be here. As you're in the stretch, you may notice that you can lean forward a little bit more. That's a good sign that your body's relaxing. Just maintain a nice steady stretch across the back of the leg. Nice work. Let's go over to the other side. So kneeling, stretch your other leg out in front of you. Grab your toes if you can manage it. If not, that's fine too. Keep your upper body nice and straight and just lean forward. Nice, steady, deep breathing. Nice and relaxing this morning or afternoon or evening, whenever you happen to be doing this. For me, it's a very, very, very pretty Sunday morning. And just keep that nice steady stretch going. A nice low-key stretch. Keep breathing and let your upper body stay straight, but come forward as that hamstring releases. You guys are doing really good. Keep it up. Your body's going to thank you at the end of this. Okay, let's move on to a stretch for the outside of the hip. You're going to lay on your back, bring your knees up. You're going to take your ankle, your outside ankle, put it across your inside knee. And you're going to allow your knee to open up as much as you can. And then you're going to grab the back of your thigh and pull your leg towards you until you feel a good stretch on the outside of your leg. Now, depending on your mobility, this may already be a stretch for you, which is fine. That's all right. Just hang out there. Just be mindful of your knee. You don't want to put lots of pressure across your knee. So definitely, especially do not force this stretch. Work with where you are. Be a little conservative. Be safe. Keep your knees safe. You can apply a little bit of pressure with your ankle into your knee, and that'll help keep your knee a little bit more safe. It'll engage those muscles so that you don't do anything to really damage your knee. Listen to your body. Don't force anything. Don't pull yourself into a stretch that your body is not prepared for. And we're just going to hold this for, a little bit. Let everything release. You'll probably feel this across the outside of your hip out here. And you'll notice the pattern. Nice, steady, deep breathing. Let everything go. If you need a little extra help here on the knee, you can push it open a little bit. But again, you want to be mindful of the outside of your knee. We don't want to be ripping and tearing anything. Slow and steady wins the race. Hope you guys are doing well. We got one more stretch after this. Switch to the other side. And again, light pressure from your ankle into your knee, pushing into your knee. And you're going to pull your knee towards you until you feel a nice light stretch across the outside of your hip. Out across here. Now, all this may seem overkill for a squat, and it would be if we had healthy, normal mobility. But unfortunately, most of us do not. We have tight hips from lots of sitting. So doing all this does a lot to open up the hips. That way you can use a more natural range of motion while doing your squats. And doing this regularly, you'll get to the point where your squat is open and you don't have to do all this to have full range of motion for your squat. So right now what we're doing is a little bit of rehab on tight hips and tight ankles. This is going to help you get into a more natural squat position, but it's also going to help keep your knees safe over the long haul. Tight hips and tight ankles destroy knees. So we're doing a little preventative maintenance, a little preventative rehab, if you will. All right, last stretch. Put your right leg out to the side, and you're going to drop down, stretch out the inside of your thigh. The more you shift your hips back, the more intense the stretch is going to be on the inside of your thigh. Again, this is another one that your positioning is depend a lot on your level of mobility. So just take it easy. Find the dog's real excited going down the road. Find your own level of mobility. Find the comfortable spot for you. We're looking for a nice moderate stretch. Should feel it down through here, down through the inside of your thigh. And just keep nice, steady, deep breaths. In through the nose, and then just let it go. You can let it go through your nose or your mouth. I hope you're feeling looser, more relaxed. Hope the hips are feeling open. Hope the ankles are feeling mobile. All right, let's switch over to the other side. Okay. Ooh, a little tight on this side for me. Now, the more you rotate your foot out, the more stretch you're going to get on the inside of your thigh as well. And after this, we squat. Finally, right? You guys ready to squat? Relax into that stretch. Let the body release. We want the nervous system to think these are all nice, safe positions to be in so that they'll let you get into them next time. You don't want to have to do this every time you want to squat. You want to get to the point where your body's just ready to go. You don't need a huge warm-up stretching routine. So this is restoration for the squat. Okay, so we're gonna start with one set of bodyweight squats. We just did all that stretching, opened everything up, so your proprioception, where your body thinks it is in space, is gonna be a little messed up. So we're gonna do one set without the weight first, so your body can kind of feel where it's at. You can get a feel for how your body's moving now. And then we'll add a very, very moderate weight to get a little resistance and set those tissues. So set your feet about hip to shoulder width apart. You want your toes pointing basically straight forward. You're going to start with the hip hinge, so the hips are going to come back, and then you're going to squat down. Arms out in front of you for a counterbalance. All right, we're going to go for 8 reps here. 1, 2, good. And squat to a comfortable depth for you. You don't have to try and match my depth if you don't have the mobility yet. It doesn't matter. It's more important that you work with where you are. There's 4. It will improve over time. Just work with where you are right now. 2 more. Good work. Last one. All right, so now we're going to go in with our weight, whatever is appropriate for you. We're going to be doing a goblet squat here, which means you're going to be holding the weight up in front of you. We're going to go for 3 sets with the weight of 8 reps. Do a light rest in between each set. The point of this is mobility work, not blasting and building muscle. We are doing a restoration workout here. So, weight up, same position as before, feet hip to shoulder width apart, toes forward, good straight upper body, and squat down. 1, 2, 3, good. Halfway. 2 more. And one more. Good work. All right, quick rest. You may notice, if you have done these before, you may be feeling the movement in different locations. You may feel it more in your hips. You may feel it more in your glutes. That's because by stretching everything out, your body's moving differently than it usually does. That's one of the reasons why we're using a lighter weight. If you do all that stretching and then go for a 1 rep max, you're actually at a much higher risk of injury. Just because, like I was talking about the proprioception, your body doesn't know exactly where it is. You're moving into ranges of motion that your body isn't really stable in yet. So we use the lighter weight so you can learn to stabilize in those positions. Over time, you're going to improve your range of motion dramatically. All right, let's go in. Set number 2. Good position. And 1, 2, 3, halfway, 5, 6, 2 more, and last one. Excellent. One more set of that. In between sets, try and control your breathing. Nice big deep breaths. It's going to help reoxygenate everything, get you ready for the next set. Again, these should not be max effort reps. You should have plenty left in the gas tank at the end using a moderate weight. This is awareness squats. Go slow, feel your body, feel how it's working, feel your positioning. Are you letting things collapse? Are you relaxing your core and coming forward? Are you arching your back a whole bunch? Are you going too deep for your hips and having to do weird gyrations to maintain your balance? Take your time, feel these out. This is restoration work, not bodybuilding, not 1 rep max, not hero workouts. All right, last set. 8 reps and we're done. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 more, 2 more, 1 more. This is it. Excellent. Very, very nice work. So that's a great little session to get some extra mobility into your lower body. Do this regularly. You can do this every day, every few days. Over time, this is all going to add up and you're dramatically going to improve your ability to squat. You'll have safer knees, more mobile ankles, and more mobile hips. What more could you ask for, right? Anyway, that's all I got for you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you like this video. If you like this sort of stuff, let me know down in the comments. If you like the video, smash the thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing. Until next time, keep your life in motion.